Um, how are you? Namaskar. आपका हो? Anyway, I found a sari. It's actually my sister's when she lived in Rajasthan, and it's quite beautiful. I imagine under the candlelight it would be particularly spectacular. Actually, my friend from Rajasthan invited me to his brother's wedding, and I think it's in April or May next year. So we'll see. I've been crying. I was just listening to the new Melin Famer record, or a few songs anyway, from it, especially when I keep replaying on repeats a piano version of a song called Invisibles. And it's very, very beautiful, and it's really just very haunting and very simple. Anyway, so I'm just recovering from that, I suppose, having a dance and thinking about all the people that died a few years ago, and kind of in a way like what a lot of my music is about, in in a roundabout kind of way. I look like the cover, don't I? Actually, now I look at it, of Bronze Adonis. Actually, I took the idea, I just changed the head. Obviously, it's not my head; it's my friend Jake's. But and the cover of that album. But anyway, I was thinking of this sari that he would be wrapped in like this, and you would see his chest. I thought that'd be kind of sexy and cool and kind of, in an Indian context anyway, kind of deviant. But yeah, I wanted to talk about though right now, Made in India, which is the next record, as you can see uploading now, pretty much. I'm trying to figure out the intro and outro, to be honest, as I'm not sure what I want to, like how I want to introduce it. But essentially, the idea is that Australia is destroyed in the near future by catastrophic fires that destroy the whole country. Climate change, all of this, of course, and it burns everything because it's so dry. It becomes like this black island just smoldering in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. So we all flee on these boats, just whatever boats we can find, everything from the navy boats to little like boys, little not boys, sorry, but little just little tugboats, not tugboats, even smaller, like little tiny rowboats, and we all end up being saved by the Indian government, and then it's this idea that India decides to take us as refugees. I mean, other places do too, but I don't really talk about that. But in my narrative about this idea is that America takes not many, actually. Japan not many. It's kind of like the Quad that take people, and of course now that Australia is destroyed, it's a triumphant of Japan, India, and United States. But India ends up taking all of us, or most of us, 90% of us. And so I wanted to create this idea of how to say, like this idea of how we use different words, like refugee, for example. Like I'm not sure. I think, for example, right now the Ukrainians are called refugees, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think they are in the media. I'm not. I mean, they are technically refugees. Because it's like war or disaster or something like that I think classifies you as a refugee, or obviously political or social oppression, you know. But anyway, and so I had this idea though of like this very rich country, one of the richest countries in the world, destroyed by its own greed in a way, because that's what climate change ultimately will be, and we go to one of the poorer countries. I know India's not very poor at all in terms of GDP, but in terms of PPP, it's kind of still developing, obviously. And, this is like the near future, literally within, I don't know, if, in my head it's like 2025 or something, 26, 27. It's not far. It's in this decade that this happens and we flee. Anyway, and so the idea of the record is, in that sense, from the perspective of like a father to his son, talking about the people that helped him when he first came to India, and also it's like a requiem in a way. It's kind of a funeral songs, but I wanted to not make it all brooding and melancholic, so I put it with electronica, which Pepper Midnight helped me with, my friend, collaborator for the last one or two last albums actually, and a few more probably, and then I did Sisar, which I took from Ravi Shankar, and I sampled it, and then I sort of put overlays and filters over the top of it to make it sort of sound more reverb and things like that, and um, yeah, so it's sort of like it's a sort of story of Australian people arriving in India, and then it flashes between that and then this man, his father, talking to his son about little remembrances of things past, like it's like there's Farewell to the Red Haven, but I'm thinking of Ayah, and his name is Mr. Mercer, the father. But yeah, like Dreams of a Lost Home, and also there's a song called New White Ghetto, which kind of actually was another album, to be honest, and then it sort of transmogrified into this song for this album anyway, because the New White Ghetto song is sort of about, I had this idea of like a settler colony of white people, white British people during the Raj times that came, like how they did with South Africa or New Zealand, Australia, obviously Canada, United States, but they had settled in, or in India. I don't know where exactly. I still haven't figured that out where it would be, but it's kind of like a what if, like an alternative timeline. And I thought, well, sort of, and so I thought it would be really interesting to have just more people, because it's not totally alternative. I mean, there's about 300 or 400 British people there during the Raj in India that lived there, and all the rest of it. Probably more actually, but anyway. And I was thinking, what if it was like a few million though? That's more of a substantial number. So that's another record that might happen. I'm not sure, but anyway, the idea is what I'm saying is come from that, and that they sort of create their own sort of essentially ghetto, but of course they don't call it a ghetto. They call it like a concession or something, or like a, you know what I mean, like the imperial people, they would call it something else. But you're like, a ghetto is a ghetto. Like you've just taken a bit of land and then you've just encircled it with your own thing, culture, whatever, buildings. So essentially, it's like that. Anyway, I found that quite interesting, and this concept of like the ghetto, you know, or a ghetto, like the Jewish ghetto in Venice, or the ghettos, the African American ghettos in Los Angeles, whatever, back in the day, or even today. And also the idea of ghettos or shanty towns in India itself today, from different, usually Muslim migrants from other parts of India, coming to different cities, or even just people from different ethnic backgrounds coming to different, like Mumbai or Kolkata, or not so much Kolkata, Mumbai or Bangalore, or like, Chennai or something like this. And I thought it was quite interesting to think about also, like how do white majority, I don't know, ghetto articulate itself? Like how would that be? What would that look like? What would they eat? What would they dress like? How would they construct their buildings? Or I don't know, how they decorate themselves, or yeah, anyway, so all of this sort of stuff. So I wanted to sort of just have a little bit of a go at that, and so I sort of talk about like we wash ourselves in still baths, and we have white picket fences, because it's like a super whitey trope thing to have a white picket fence, like it's very American Australian dream type stuff. And we grow geranium, eucalyptus, things like that. They eat British style food, of course, not the spicy masalas. So all of that was thing. And then I've got one called Melbourne to Mumbai, because I'm from Melbourne, and actually someone that I quite like has just gone home to Mumbai, and so she is. It's sort of like a very I don't know. It's sort of a homage, I suppose, to her in a way as well. But it's also like I'm fleeing to follow her. So she's actually from India, and obviously I'm not. And so it's that thing where Australia burns, and I follow her because she's like an old flame or something like this in my head, and anyway, it's like a whole thing. But yeah, so it's like that, and then my Indian doll is like my little Indian doll is a song about actually a chaiwala called Dolly Bhai, and I quite like him. He's got this, like, if you look him up on YouTube, you have to. He's quite funny. He'll just like take the money like this, and then hand it back like this into the guy's hand, and I'm like,
girl, you're so queer. I love it. And he looks like Jack Sparrow or something. It's like fucking awesome. I love that guy. I want like if I go to, I think he's in Amenabad. No, oh no, he's somewhere else. But anyway, maybe he is in Gujarat. I'm not sure. Anyway, I have to check it out. Whatever. But anyway, actually I think he's in Maharashtra. But anyway, if I go, I want to meet him. As one of my life goals is to meet Dolly Bhai, the chaiwala. So that was sort of about like it's a bit about tongue in cheek to him, but it's also about like being Australian and becoming chaiwalas or something else, or like it's about beauty. It's about many things. Like my songs are never really about one thing. It's kind of a whole spectrum of different things. But anyway, and then I cried the Ganges. I feel like that's what I've just done now actually, but yeah, I cried the Ganges is a song about like pure sadness of losing your home, of being in exile, of being a refugee, and the emotion of that. You know that feeling of absolute loss. You know, almost like living like losing a loved one, but you've lost your whole culture, your whole home, you know, everything that's material and more is gone. And so I wanted to have this thing where the father, he cried a new Ganges, he cried a new great river. He was so sad about the loss of his country, and so yeah, that's sort of I guess the major ones I wanted songs that I wanted to talk about. I'm also thinking to do a cover version, well, sort of, and change it of the theme from Burke's Backyard. Because actually, this is like a really great song, and it's very Australian. It's much more Australian than Waltzing Matilda and all this shit. And I thought it'd be really cool to like put in, just change one or two words of it to reference more Indian things, like not a rocking chair, but I forgot the name of it, but like this chair slash bed that in northwest and north India they sleep on outside in the villages also, and actually it's almost like in ancient Egypt they have a similar bed actually. But anyway, so I wanted to like do that, and I want to say not eucalyptus, not gum trees, but banyan trees, so just make up little differences. And this is like the new anthem of these people, the Australians, the Indian Australians, I guess, Australian Indians. I'm not sure how you really say this. Anyway, semantics, shit, man. So this is my thought that we'll see, and then yeah, just do a sort of instrumental outro and intro. Would be cool. So that's my kind of thought. Anyway, this is my little like explainer of Made in India. I hope you like it. I hope it ages okay. I don't know. It's just I feel like of course like always all my music is just demos. It's not. I don't have the capacity yet to make it like grand music or professional music. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to all these gigs. I'm going to some gigs tonight, and just learning more and more as I go. So yeah, like that. Anyway, I think that's everything. I'm going to go get dressed now. And it's actually warm today, which is great, finally. Sort of, I just hope it's not going to be apocalyptically hot the next little while. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to have a glass of wine, eat some food would be also preferably a good idea, and get ready to go out, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, enjoy the album, enjoy Made in India, and yeah, okay, thank you, bye, Famalanga.